Welcome to the show both feared and revered by man and beast, the Heliosblog. Today, on the Whatever podcast, these guys are accused of manipulation by modern women. Yes, I wonder who's doing the manipulation and why and when.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
So I love arguing. I'll make the claim I love arguing. I don't take any of it personally. I literally want to know why you think what you think and how you came to those conclusions. Because I don't suck at arguing, right? I actually want to know your worldview. I don't know if maybe my worldview is wrong. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I believe things that I shouldn't
Maybe you are,
believe.
and you're just amazing at arguing. You'll never know because you'll never.
Yeah, all she has is rudeness. Great job. Yep, that's how to be. That's how to argue in good faith. Just exactly how this girl's doing it, guys. Just follow her example here.
Never concede,
I would never
ever.
be able to determine that in a million years, though, if I can't get a contrary worldview from you, which is superior to my own. I could never do that.
Wait, so okay,
Yeah, if you never
said
concede.
you said you want to wait and see for the comments, and there's definitely been some viral clips. Where,
No, I didn't say it like that. I meant like, why do you think the way people respond? Let's be real. Like, why do you think that people respond? In the way they respond to you, it's valid. You can't just shut out every criticism, because then you'd be literally a psychopath if you just shut out all criticism and was like, I'm just going to exist and never take what someone says about me.
No, you are doing ad hominem attacks, and if that allows if a person just says, "Oh, you attacked me," okay, I suddenly agree, with no thought or pushback, that person has no spine.
With a grain of salt, at least.
Wait, so actually,
That's fair.
So,
What's the criticism?
yeah, what's
I'm
the
saying,
actual argument?
it's not tone policing like this random person
okay,
is
but
saying.
you said the people.
Yeah,
in the comments-
or like this random person over here saying that you can't make the argument.
Less
It's tone
baggage.
policing.
What that makes it sound younger women are easier to manipulate is what you're pretty much saying. Younger women are less experienced.
I did not get that from that at all.
Okay. So what did you get?
Did those work? It's actually interesting because you kind of, I think, accused me earlier of putting words in your mouth. Did those words ever exit my mouth?
You said less baggage, less trauma.
Actually, wait, hold on. Let me just flip this right back at you. Wouldn't somebody who's going through, who's not stable, be easier to manipulate? Somebody who has a lot of baggage is easier to manipulate. Somebody who's not steadfast and is not really grounded, aren't they easier to manipulate? I could just make the argument in reverse.
That can literally
Checkmate.
go. That could go either
Checkmate.
way. That could go either way. Yes,
No,
it can.
Somebody who's emotionally
stable
who's
is going
emotionally
to be
stable is less easy
likely
to manipulate than somebody who's less emotionally stable.
Vulnerable.
more vulnerable. Yeah. They're in a rough place. They don't have their wits about them. I mean, hey, I hope it never happens.
You don't know anything. You're just better at everything in life.
That's not what I said at all.
Well, I don't think
I
that,
said
you don't know
What the?
anything. When you haven't experienced things and gone through things, how do you learn
what I'm
anything
saying
in life then?
is actually
you're better at
what
nothing?
I'm saying
nothing?
What
is
the?
actually that someone who is emotionally stable and healthy, has healthy relationships, hasn't been, hurt or abused or doesn't have divorces under their belt and all these emotional scars and damage, they're more confident, they're less easy to pull the wool over their eye. Look, she's nodding. And this is the difference between what I wouldn't call what Andrew was saying earlier about engineers or IT people being wise. That's not the same at all. Intelligence, and wisdom and degrees are all different, right? But life experience, you see her nodding when I'm saying this, when you are healthy and stable and strong, you are much less likely to be taken advantage of because you don't have these needs.
So you think you're
wait. You don't have these needs and insecurities and all these issues that are plaguing your mind and your thoughts, filtering through everything coming into your brain. All right? You have more stability and groundedness in yourself, and you understand, you can see it more.
I'd argue the same thing at the opposite point.
Okay, well, and that's fine. And we
what I would
can
argue.
agree to disagree on that, but here's the issue is that you seem to be getting so angry and upset, and I don't understand why. So, I mean, is there something else to it? Because he literally said that women who are younger have less baggage. That is a fact. There's nothing wrong with that statement. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, that's true of just people in general. And then immediately he said, well, that's true for men too. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. The older you live, the more people you know that die. You know, in my late 20s, I had 5 people in my immediate family pass away. Do you think that was not baggage going into my 30s that made it hard in relationships? I mean, that was brutal. At 25, I didn't have any of that. So that right there, to me, proves what he said. But he was listing things like body counts going up, people might have STDs, they got kids by different daddies, you know, all these different things. They might have been assaulted, you know, a million things bad can happen.
Notice, the girl is not listening. She's only listening to respond. She is insanely disrespectful. But not only this, she's just arguing to argue. She's not actually arguing in good faith. She's just, anything you say, I'm going to say the opposite. Because, nah. Okay, very creative, very smart.
Happen in life in a decade of living, and good things too.
Are you discounting being a human and having a human experience as worthy?
No. I understand. She's gone through all kinds of baggage and trauma, and she wants some guy to come in and save her at the end. She wants to stick the landing. And so her own ego is hurt because somebody's telling her, no, darling. You don't just get what you want after ruining yourself.
I never said anybody wasn't worthy.
Okay, but
I'm saying I understand his point, which was it's simpler. It's easier. It's
Augmented
simpler.
Altis donated $200. Here's a comment. Redhead retard, you are not intellectually nuanced by being intentionally evasive. You are broadcasting your inability to grasp basic concepts and arguments. Common sense eludes you.
Thank you, Augmented. Appreciate it. Did you want to finish off?
I would love to. I mean, it's not about valuations on the life experiences, because guess what? I grew as a person. I grew as a woman. I have a lot of experiences that have translated into wisdom that I can impart to all my stepkids. I've got 5 stepchildren. I've got 3 step-grandchildren. I have 2 teenage daughters, and I am there to share my life experiences. And the wise person is going to learn from other people's mistakes and bad experiences. A smart person will learn from their own, right? But a wise person is going to learn from other people's and not have to experience it. And God willing, nothing bad ever happened to you. But the longer you live, the more people you're going to know who pass away. That's what this tattoo is for here, is one of my girlfriends. And it's just a fact of life, you know? It's so much harder to date when you have children.
By the way, support for the statement that tattoos are baggage, especially for women.
Children and co-parenting and all of those things, and the older you get and your beauty is going down, you have to have a lot of resilience. You have to have wisdom and character and fun, amazing personality. But you know what? At the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, what are men attracted to? He's not saying that he wouldn't choose somebody as a wife unless they were 25 and unless they had no baggage. He's just saying that's what men are attracted to because it's easy, it's simple. And I have to agree, based on the men I've known in my life, that that's what they would go for if everything's equal. I'll take the chick that's not got all the baggage just because it's simple.
Yeah. And a lot of my
I feel like
married,
that's discounting your own self, though. Like, how
I'm not discounting myself at all.
No,
but how can you say that? Like,
but it's because
not at all.
A lot of my guy friends that have already been married or have a child, they prefer being with younger women because it's so much easier.
Just simple.
I mean, it's not as complicated because when you have children, when you have families, when you've lived a bit and experienced hardships or challenges, it is exhausting, right? But when you're with someone young, you feel more youthful. You feel like, oh my God, this is like, I get to have fun again.
They don't have to deal with the hard realities,
And I don't want to date a man that has baggage, like an older man that has hasn't dealt with their exes, hasn't dealt with like good parenting. Like, I'm not attracted to those things either. So I can see Brian's point of view of wanting to be attracted and date someone younger because
if they can.
If you can, but it's also because it's just a few moments of just enjoying life. And sometimes younger people enjoy life a little bit better than someone older because older, you're dealing with so much crap.
It's hard adulting, man. Yeah. It is so hard adulting.
And it's nice to actually, I mean, let's enjoy this moment of us being here.
I forgot to mention this as well. Notice how the girl doesn't listen to a man talking to her, but the second that a woman's talking to her, bam, she's at rapt attention. Notice the difference. Just low-level disrespect.
Together because life is short. You can be friends with someone one day and then they're like, dead.
The soap opera music.
Thanks for the music, Andrew.
And I can say this, like, the vast majority.
We love you too.
That was fun.
The vast majority of 40-year-old men have no chance getting a girl in college. Getting a 21-year-old, no chance. But I mean, look, we already had the conversation. I want to get around to everybody, but first I got to read two chats. Morgan, can you read this one, please?
Follow up to the hair question. If men that like hairless women are PDF files, why do you shave? Are you trying to attract PDF files? How many hairy armpits are on the panel tonight?
I was going to say that my grandmother told me that after World War II, all the soldiers came back from Europe, and that's when they wanted the women to start shaving their legs and shaving their armpits because the sex workers in France had shaved. Yeah, and so that's where that came back over to the U.S. and was.
I thought they were hairy there.
W French sex workers.
It was. I thought the French workers were hairy.
The French sex workers.
W French prostitutes. Wait, so going around this, do you shave your legs? I guess.
Yeah. Or armpits.
I thought it's armpits.
Yeah,
armpits.
Yes.
That's disgusting. You guys are all disgusting.
Whoa.
Trying to attract these PDF files.
I'm not showing my armpits.
Brian,
You're playing into it. You guys are playing into this perverse
Hold up. I don't get how you
societal correlation. Correlate. What?
I don't get how you can't agree that that's like very obvious in society.
What's up?
I'm joking.
It's not really very obvious to me.
Very obvious.
Can you read this one, Morgan?
Maybe they just don't want to smell like sweat with that, because the hair traps the... No?
I'm a 35-year-old woman, and you young girls really need to take a note from your elders. Brian would and should date someone at 20 over me at 35. Stop taking things so personally. You're only 24.
I'm not taking it personally. I don't give a shit.
She don't. You kind of give a shit. I mean, like those.
I mean, I give a shit right now.
Yeah, you were to rage quit 5 minutes ago. What are you talking about?
You were about to walk out of here. You're like, I'm gonna walk out of here.
I got heated for the moment.
It's good.
But when I'm not here, I don't think about any of this.
Same here.
Which is interesting. So I give a shit for that moment. But besides that moment, I don't care because, I honestly am like.
Did we bring you down from the higher plane of consciousness?
No. I brought
Are you
you up.
sure?
I brought
feel like we brought you down from the,
Andrew, I brought you
from
up
like
with
the
me. You
sixth
can't deny
dimensional
that.
consciousness to the fourth dimensional.
Yo, Andrew, you know I brought you up with me. You can't deny that. You too, Brian.
Yeah, I feel it.
There you go.
You feel it?
Personally,
My
I'm
heart
glad you
chakra.
stayed.
Open.
My
I was just
esotericism is at a plus 10 right now. That's for sure.
My heart chakra opened. Okay, we're gonna finally.
Good.
This must be 3 hours
I
later.
feel like, how can you relate then if
Oh,
you
boy.
want to date someone that's younger though? Like, I'm still stuck on
Okay.
this.
All right,
how can you relate to
I'll
that
engage
person?
there really.
It's not about that, right? Because you have a dominant submissive dynamic anyway in relationships. You're supposed to, right? So it just naturally causes that. Okay.
Real quick, but I do have to move it on. So okay, so you mean like if I was dating a 25-year-old, how would I relate
and their
to them?
experiences, like, say they haven't really been through a big loss. How can you like help that person
Wait,
through
but
life too?
Whoever
if you've
said that I'm desirous of dating a partner who's had losses in their
No,
life?
I said experiences like baggage and trauma.
Wait, but I just told
type
you I
stuff.
don't like that. So wouldn't it like?
I said, how can you not like? No, I said, how can you not? If you're
can I not what?
if you're gonna date someone who's around 25 and hasn't been through stuff like that, how can you like
be with them?
be
is
a
what you
partner
mean?
with that person if they've never like they can't help and
does
guide you as well?
But what does that have to do with anything?
Why would I?
Because
I'm
she's
asking
saying
a
that
question.
like the life experience isn't on the same like level, like they haven't been through the same. So she's
So
wondering.
you just want someone who's like not gonna
if
Not
you
gonna
will
what?
be able to connect or something.
just like
gonna
help be a partner through life. Like
What
that doesn't
what does the baggage have to do with somebody's capacity to be a partner?
like I said, like we were talking about like
I think I know what she's asking.
we were talking about like you're
Like, what do I
say
have-
you lose someone
What do I have in common
in your life, right?
Yeah.
If you've never lost someone at 25, then how can you be a partner, be like the best partner for that person?
How would the 25-year-old be a
Yeah.
good partner for the other?
She might
Yeah.
not.
Compassion.
You learn as you go.
Yeah.
You learn as you go. You know, you get tried in the fire, and then that's where somebody's character is going to show, because you don't build character in bad times. Bad times is when your character actually shows the character you already have.
This is actually an interesting thought. So, I've had this experience with nurses actually, and so there's this idea that nurses tend to be more empathetic, but nurses have very stressful jobs, and they're actually frequently around severe illness, death, and that what I've actually found, having dated a couple nurses, it's not clear to me if they're more empathetic than their counterparts who are not in the healthcare field.
What do you mean?
Nurse over there.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, it's like you can almost say that somebody who's around that stuff all the time,
They become blunt.
it actually starts to diminish.
And they get
I can see
desensitized.
people getting desensitized.
I could understand that, but maybe it's because they understand that part on a different level, and they're already in that like type of wisdom.
But
So they
okay,
already
do you think-
understand that.
Like, do you think if there's a girl who's otherwise great personality, attractive, but she hasn't been to a funeral, that I'm like, fuck that bitch. I'm not gonna talk. Like, really? Is that?
No, I don't mean it like that.
But you're like, oh, well, she hasn't gone through this, so like, why would you date her?
No, I was
don't
asking you a
care.
question generally, like
What was the?
like
She was asking may I?
yeah.
She was asking, how is that younger person with fewer life experiences going to be a good partner to the older person? How are they going to know how to support that person in these life situations? But I mean, I really think that it'll just come naturally to what your character is. It's going to come out. Like, that's one thing that you're pretty much guaranteed, is you'll have plenty of opportunities to practice.
I mean, but what?
I guess so, but I feel like you have to go through things to know where you're gonna be. Like, you kind of have
know.
to. You can't just like. That's kind of like.
She's just trying to argue for the other side for no real discernible reason that I can point out. Just how about you guys let me know in the comments, why is she arguing so hard for this? Is it that she's trying to make her weakness a virtue? Is that what's actually happening here? She's saying, you should choose me because I'm experienced. I'm not like those 25-year-olds. I've experienced trauma, and that makes me superior. When it isn't the compliment she thinks it is.
Experiencing life, you're gonna know more than just reading a book about it. You got to go and do it.
Well, I don't know.
I actually, if I'm dating a girl, I actually want to protect her from as many things as possible that could potentially
hurt her.
Hurt her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, like, frankly, a lot of women in the entertainment industry, for example, like the entertainment industry, super cutthroat, super toxic, a lot of like weird people, both men and women. And what I found in terms of like women in the entertainment industry, which is actually why I've never dated like a content creator or anything. Like, I date quote unquote normal girls. When you, like, for example, a lawyer, for example, if a woman's an attorney, she typically becomes less of what men are typically attracted to. Yep. Because to be a lawyer, you have to be disagreeable, and you become well practiced in argumentation. And I don't want to argue with a girl, and in expanding beyond just a lawyer, like businesswomen, the corporate world, super cutthroat, and so you tend to become a bit more masculine.
Yep.
And so I guess my hope would be to, protect my girl from my girlfriend, my woman from like those sorts of experiences.
But then how, like...
That was a bunch of word salad. Sorry, guys.
I know what you mean, but
I know, that was word salad on my part.
Oh, what a nice response.
Okay, so if... Sorry.
Like I want to make enough money so my girl doesn't have to work.
See, that's like
so.
Sweet.
But what is the reason for like? Why wouldn't you want someone to have like their own stance on something? Like, why would you want someone not to be argumentative?
Because
like, what is that?
A lot of men, and especially with my work, so
men spend like all day fighting. Why would you go home and fight more?
So my work's very challenging. I'm not even just talking about the podcast. Most of the stress related to this show is actually stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Andrew can actually attest to this. Recently, we're not going to talk about it, but some there's always bogus nonsense going on behind the scenes. Andrew, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, just like major headache stuff. And so I'm already out in the world trying to combat with the world through my career, through my job. I don't want to have to contend with my partner. I want my partner to be peace, to bring me peace. And actually, like, I don't want to like get into debates and argue with girls, even though it's kind of like what I do on this podcast. If I'm dating somebody, I'm not arguing. I just want it to be chill. I don't like to argue any of that stuff.
But who's conceding then? Because I feel like someone's compromising then in that situation.
Yeah, that's so
you as a disagreeable person would be compromising, but not everyone.
Well, I actually will agree with you here and give you an olive branch. I do think that there would be a concession, and that is submission of the woman.
That's where that's where I disagree then.
Indeed.
Well, yeah, what's wrong with a woman submitting to a man?
I just don't like. I understand like there can be scenarios like there are scenarios like you know, intimacy and stuff like that. There are scenarios where like that can be a thing, but like I don't know why like it wouldn't be valued, like an opinion on like say like you said like a debate on something like what fruit is like. I don't know. You can't really debate on fruit because that's like objective, but like something that is subjective.
But even a thing which is subjective. So from the context that I'm looking at it at, I don't believe that there's any two consciousness which exist. Consciousnesses. It's a joke. Kidding. Trying to lighten the mood. I don't think that there's ever going to be two people who come into contact where one doesn't ultimately end up dominating the other to some degree. Yep. I don't even believe that that's possible. I don't think that there's ever going to be a such thing as true equality between two people ever. I don't even think that such a thing is a possibility. So if you're in a relationship with another person, one person is going to be the dominant head. Why would that person not logically be the person who is physically stronger and the person who has to go and make the bread and make the financial choices for the household? That seems to kind of track and follow. The protector is going to be the person who ultimately is looked at as the leader and the leader of the household. So why shouldn't the woman submit to him?
Here's what I would be interested in hearing is what would you define as
well, can you let her answer real quick?
Oh, sure.
Just real quick.
So I would say, like, for that.
She can't even answer the question.
So that's like that. My issue with that is like you don't value my opinion on, like you said, financial decisions, right?
That's not true.
But you said like you're the dominant, like you're
No, you value the opinion, but you're the ultimate decision maker. You're the final. The buck stops with you. That's what that means.
End all be all.
And
so
I think, well, I think you're making like a conflation. It's not that. So, for instance, I'm married. I value my wife's opinion, but what if we're having a conflict and I don't agree with her? If I say, look, I don't agree. I think right now it's the time for our family to take risk, and you don't think it's time for our family to take risk. While I value your opinion and your input, ultimately the decision falls on me to make that choice. And so I'm going to lead our family towards risk, let's say, or less risk. Let's say she says, I want to do something which is more risky to our finances. Ultimately, that falls on me to make that choice. There's only going to ever be one person who is the head, whether it's the woman or the man. I just think that it seems to be preferable that the man is the head. Women seem to prefer it, and men seem to prefer it.
So you're saying, like, if you guys have a disagreement, you're the end decision?
Indeed.
Of course.
That's why I wanted to know how you define submission, because I do have a thought I'd like to share, but I'd like to hear your definition of it first so I know where we're coming from.
I would say it would probably be like at the end of the day, that's like the final.
Like who has the final
that's
say?
That's the final thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In that sense, real quick, I would just say, like, you can think about it like, just think about like a platonic relationship, though. Like you and your friend. I understand in this scenario, you're not talking about that. But like
even
in you and someone you really respect, if you want to think about someone you respect and think about it in that type of way,
yeah.
I don't understand how you can respect that person and have them always submit to your final decision. How can you still respect that person, though?
Okay.
Why is it? Well, that's like, let me kind of give you an easy counter to this. I have children. I respect my children, but they're going to adhere to my word, whether I respect them or not. If I think that they're doing something, they're fucking up in some way. For instance, let's say they want to put their hand in their fire. I'm not going to respect them enough to let them do that. They're going to respect me instead, and they're not going to put their hand in the fire regardless of what they want.
And there it is. We're going to end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all the notifications. Go buy my books. Here are all the people that have purchased my books. Hunter M, Adrian R, Tom M, Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, Alan, Armani, and Nicholas. Shoutouts to you, most recent purchaser of my 2 books, Strategist Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By. Thank you. You can buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. If you'd like early access to my content, I offer it on Patreon. That's patreon.com/theheliosblog. And as you can see, Nick H here has had coaching from me. He's had good results. Just message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com for coaching services. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. Really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.